Welcome to the Retro Video Store Podcast.
Welcome, everyone, to the Retro Video Store Podcast. I'm your host, Eric.
Hi, Eric.
Mowage. Hey, Neil. How's it going?
Podcasts are what bring us together today. Who else is with us today? Eric?
Dave. Dave is here.
And
we are recording like 2 days late because of weather-related issues. Tell us about the weather, Neil and David.
Well, David's is more severe, but up where I'm at, we got like 7 inches in less than a day. 7 inches of rain, and the winds were insane. We had something like 48% of the county where I'm at was without electricity. So my electricity went out. What's today? So it went out in the afternoon yesterday about Saturday. Probably went out Saturday. Today's Monday. Jesus. This is what it's like living in 1824. It went out Saturday a little bit before 2:00, and that didn't come back on until 11:38 today, which is a Monday. So basically my entire refrigerator is done. We took out what we could and started packing it in ice, but like we only had so many coolers, and there was kind of a run on them here locally. And yeah, it was nice. Freezing cold, winds howling. Kids like, when's the electricity going to come back on? When it comes back on. It's just been crazy.
Candlelight.
Yeah, down trees all over the place. Driving into work this morning, like 5-6 down trees. It's just the Bay Area has been nuts. But of course, Southern California is getting pounded just as bad down where Dave is.
Dave, what is it like getting pounded?
Tell us what it's like to be pounded, Dave.
It really sucks. Yeah, it was quite a bit of rain, 12 to 18 inches in some area.
Damn.
12 to 18 inches, and then, I don't know, the winds, but it washed away a lot of roads and flooding and chaos. And then also, I feel like shit. So I was 4:00 in the morning, had the crazy storm going on. And then I was in like the fetal position, cold sweats. As my grandfather said, I thought I was going to have to get better just to die last night.
That's how you feel after you get pounded.
Yeah, so that's how you feel after you get pounded. You get the cold sweats.
Yes. Yeah. All right. Well, today we're going to talk about The Princess Bride from 1987, but we have a few other things to talk about before that. But let's do what we always do. Neil, I know you were without power, so you may not have watched a bunch of stuff. But what did you watch this week?
Before that, we had gone to the movie theater to watch Argyle.
How was it? I hear it's not doing very good in the box office.
Because it's ridiculous. It's not meant to be taken serious. So the folks that do The Kingsman, and you know how ridiculous and over the top that was?
Mm-hmm.
Same thing. There's a scene where they're like synchronized dancing with each other, throwing like smoke grenades and capping dudes. And then all of a sudden our heroine is like ice skating on oil and doing pirouettes with a machine gun and blasting people. It's just absolutely stupid, which is the point. And if people are going in and expecting something other than something absolutely dumb, of course you're going to be disappointed. Mm-hmm. I had read a little bit about what was going to go on in the movie just because I didn't want to go. My wife wanted to go see it. And I went in the mind frame to go watch something that dumb, and that's exactly what I got. And I found it entertaining for that very reason. Same thing too. I watched a little bit of Roger Rabbit because I didn't feel like I was like fair, and I was like, maybe I'm just not in the right mindset. And then I realized that nope, everything I said about that movie was exactly correct.
Still standing by your opinion, yeah.
Yeah, still standing by it. But that's really all I've done.
At least you gave it another shot, because sometimes movies are like that. Like, even though we don't have our shining episode it was bad. The Shining is one of those movies that is good if you're in the right mindset, and tedious as hell if you're if you're not. So yeah,
big time. And then that's really about it. It has been late nights, and like the last couple days has just been sort of stressing, hoping my roof doesn't get torn off, and all the flooding and things that are going on. It was kind of nuts around here. But tonight I've got electricity, damn it, and I am going to watch something. I don't know yet. I'm going to watch something.
Nice. How about you, Dave? What did you watch?
Well, I just thought of something, Neil. If you lose power, am I going to have to step up and fill your shoes and help carry the show?
Yes.
You're actually going to have to speak. So chop. You know what? Here's the thing, Dave. It's you and I are holding it down on the facial hair front for this podcast, honestly.
That's right.
That's right. So I even trimmed mine up. It took like 3 inches off of it. So if I'm not here, you got to hold it down for us.
Okay.
Well, if not, Eric's going to run all over the place, and he's going to talk about Italian horror movies.
Blab.
He's going to talk about Godzilla movies and shit like that. So someone's got to rein him in. I suggest dick and fart jokes.
Okay.
All right.
I can tell you that I didn't watch anything this week because I was in Sacramento teaching. Sacktown, and that's just depressing enough anytime you're in Sacramento. So it's like hard to muster up the energy to watch anything. So instead, I listened to an audiobook and just hung out. So
what book did you listen to?
Oh God, I can't remember, but it was about the guy who did the forensic cold case studies and helped catch the Golden State serial killer. It was good.
You weren't in Sacramento very long. You got to hit me up when you're there for more than 2 days.
I know. It sucks. That place sucks. No one ever said I'm going to Sacramento for a good time. Eric, what did you watch?
I watched a shitload of stuff. I watched Billy Madison one day because I was completely bored, and I realized that no stupid movie brings me as much pleasure as Billy Madison does.
All the cool kids pee their pants.
It's so stupid. And it just, it lifts my spirits when I watch it. I go and it was on Tubi. I was looking for, Jamie and I decided, let's watch Eyes Wide Shut on Tubi, and we couldn't make it past 45 minutes because Nicole Kidman and Tom Cruise don't act like human beings. And it's just it's one long marital argument with nudity. And
so Andrew wasn't home, and you guys are like,
no, we were down
Eyes Wide Shut.
No, it was because I hadn't seen it. I think I've seen all of it, but just in parts. Just I can put it together, but I haven't watched the whole thing. And we were being lazy this weekend. We didn't really do anything, so we were just watching TV in the basement. Let's watch a movie. So that was on Tubi. I'm like, well, now I like Stanley Kubrick, and we just watched The Shining, and I was wanting to watch it, and man, I could not make it through it. Tom Cruise does not know how to act like a human being. Neil, you have something to say?
All right, so I'm kind of curious. Holy crap, my screen's still jiggling from that question. So quick question though. All right, so Billy Madison for you. If you're going to watch a stupid movie to help pull you up, what about you, Dave? Have you got a stupid movie that you would put on?
Totally. I watch Kingpin.
You watch Kingpin? Oh my God, that's a good one.
That's my go-to.
That's a really good one.
If I want to laugh and have a good time, I watch Kingpin.
I just love the stupid commercial for the Big Brother kind of program that Bill Murray does. And it's always with these the hot ladies, that the kids have hot moms. I just always remember that, and that part is super funny. Neil, what about you? What is your go-to?
Two of them.
Spirit lifting.
Two of them. Nacho Libre, and then a newer, because that movie just kills me as far as stupid humor goes. And then the other one would be a newer one. It would be The Unbearable Weight of Massive Talent. That movie gets me every single time. It is so damn funny. Pedro Pascal is perfection in that.
Yeah, I would go Billy Madison. This is Spinal Tap. Those two really kind of just, if they're on, I'm just immediately I'll drop what I'm doing and watch both those and enjoy them. And just, Billy Madison is so stupid, the premise and just everything. It's just enjoyable. put your brain on hold and enjoy that movie. And speaking tangentially of Billy Madison and Adam Sandler, there's Happy Gilmore, which is also very close to being a stupid movie that I always watch. And rest in peace, Carl Weathers.
Oh, that was a beautiful segue, by the way. That was really. If you didn't plan that was excellent.
Nope, I just came off the top of my head.
Nicely done. Let's have a little applause for that. That was freaking great.
But he's great as Chubbs in Happy Gilmore, and he was great in whatever he was in. I mean, even Action Jackson with Vanity and Craig T. Nelson and Sharon Stone, he was still awesome in that movie. And the movie was pure exploitation movie, and it made me think, like, man, if they would have given him a little bit more serious type movies to be in, he could have been even bigger than he was already. But he was, brought so much charisma, intelligence, and to whatever he was in, especially as Apollo Creed, and of course in Predator. Just so many movies that he was in, and that was awesome. And I always remember, even as a kid, that my mom loved her some Carl Weathers. Like, we would like watch Rocky 3, and she's like, that is a good looking man. That's what she would say.
I have been in the room when your mother has started to make those comments, and it's pretty damn disturbing. I got to tell you.
She was a Carl Weathers fan. So he also played 2 seasons with the Raiders. So how cool is that?
Well, that would have settled it for your stepdad.
Yeah.
What about Hurricane Smith?
Is that another B movie of Carl Weathers?
Carl Weathers, yeah.
I remember seeing I have not seen that, but I saw the poster of it this week, and people were
Hurricane Smith, 1992. I saw that movie in Texas.
How was it?
It was everything you would have expected it to be. It was Carl Weathers. I was excited, almost as excited by that as I was seeing Samuel Jackson play Shaft. Yeah.
But he was just awesome. And even like the villain in the Rocky movies, he brought so much more to it. He was, you felt sympathy for him, and I could understand him. And then, Rocky 2, which was funny because this is purely coincidental. The same day that Carl Weathers died, there was a Rocky marathon on HBO. And I was watching the end of Rocky 2, which I think Rocky 2 has the best training montage after Adrian comes out of her coma and Mickey's like, what are we waiting for? And they do this awesome training montage. And, I was like, I told the same story I told you about my mom really enjoying Carl Weathers to Jamie. And then, like, I don't know, in the middle of Rocky 4, I went back, then the alert came on CNN saying Carl Weathers had died. I was like, damn, that sucks. We were just talking about him.
HBO killed Carl Weathers, those bastards.
Yeah, it was a bummer. But yeah.
If I could pour this out, I would pour this out for Carl Weathers right there.
Mm-hmm.
I'd pour that out, but I'm not, because it's delicious.
I mean, part of the most epic handshake in movie history between him and Arnold Schwarzenegger in Predator, that was awesome.
You son of a bitch.
The most macho moment in movie history.
You've been pushing too many pencils. I still love it. I fight the urge throughout my day to just not walk up to people and go, you son of a bitch.
Dylan, you son of a bitch.
What's the matter? Been pushing too many pencils. So good.
Yeah, amazing movie. We also had a listener email.
So that means we've heard from 2 out of the 4.
Yes. Our loyal listener Ryan suggested that we watch Brotherhood of the Wolf, which I remember watching once way back in the day. And it's also known as Le Pack de Loups because it's a French movie about werewolves, and it came out in 2001. And I think it's on Tubi, so I might have to check it out because I don't remember anything of it to see if it's something that we would talk about. But appreciate the suggestion, Ryan. And Ryan also backed me up, saying that he believed that Heather Thomas was the superior Heather over Heather Locklear in the 80s. So good taste, Ryan.
Mark Dacascos is in that movie, so hopefully we get to see him pulling out some martial arts that should not appear at that time in France. So
Monica Bellucci is in that movie, so it's got a good cast. So to check it out. It's on Tubi.
You know what this French movie needs? A Filipino dude.
I went through spent like an hour and a half going through every streaming service just looking for something to watch, and I went through Tubi. And Tubi is just hitting it right now. They had like 600 horror titles to choose from the other day. So much of it was just crap, but it's amazing the amount of choice you have on Tubi right now. If you want to watch,
Tubi is good. I know we used to do the Tubi titles of the week.
Yeah,
we kind of let that like fall to the side, but for what you pay for Tubi, it's amazing.
Yeah, it's because it's free.
Hell yeah!
But they have like the cult movie section, and it has this movie called The Forbidden Zone, which stars Danny Elfman, and it's a musical with a lot of nudity and stuff in it. I was like, I gotta watch that. It's like an hour and 14 minutes, so I put that on my list for Tubi to watch. And they have a shitload of really bad martial arts movies. Mm-hmm. Master of the Flying Guillotine is still there.
Amazing.
One-Armed Boxer. Oh, and Street Fighter, the Sonny Chiba Street Fighter, is currently on Netflix.
If you got to fight dirty.
Yeah, so lots of good shit out there. But we're not here to talk about Sonny Chiba. We're here to talk about The Princess Bride. And I will go on record saying this is probably the most wholesome movie that we have done and probably will ever do on the Retro Video Store.
I'm just sitting here like feeling bad for Dave. Like you still look like you don't feel good, dude.
Yeah, I feel like shit.
Sorry.
Yeah, it's all right.
I've been
muting the mic, so muting the mic so you guys don't hear me dying over here.
Okay.
Well, since your mic is open, what do you remember about The Princess Bride? Was the first time you saw it?
Oh, when I was younger, I think we probably watched it a ton on VHS and on TV. It was a staple to keep us occupied in the 80s. So we didn't bother our parents.
The crazy thing is that Jamie said that she didn't like it. She's like, I don't like that movie. But then we watched it together, and she's like, it was better than I remember. So I don't know if she had like some, she had some sort of prejudice against it. But she it wasn't gothy enough for her back in the day. It wasn't edgy enough for teenage Jamie.
There was something I thought about my childhood when I watched this movie. And of course, I've also smoked weed and watched this movie before and ate some cereal, and it was pretty good. But I remember, I don't think my parents ever sat down and read me a book.
So sad. Really?
Yeah. I was actually like trying to think of a moment when my parents or my grandparents sat down and read me a book. It was usually like, go to bed. Hush.
I can't imagine your dad with a can of Coors Light and a cigarette. All right, here's a goddamn 3 bears. Here we go.
Of all the movies I thought that we would have to work some trauma out about, I didn't think this was it. I thought you guys had a lot to say when we did The Shining. There was a bit that was talked about before and after, but then thanks for bringing us down on a really good little wholesome flick there, Dave.
Listen up. There was a caterpillar. He was hungry. All right, listen.
Eat all the goddamn strawberries. Good night.
Yeah. Reading us a Louis L'Amour book at night.
A Louis L'Amour book.
Telling us to go to bed. I go to bed.
I've only met your dad twice, and he seemed like a wonderful gentleman. So I think this is slanderous.
What is it about dads our dad's age, people our dad's age, men who loved Louis L'Amour? My dad loved
my mom loved the Louis L'Amour books.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, my grandpa had those. My dad read them as well. I remember my dad reading James Cavell, the Shogun, which I'm actually interested in seeing the new TV series coming out. But he did that. I read those a lot. But Louis L'Amour, I definitely remember on the nightstand or in the bookcase.
I don't know about Shogun. Mifune Toshiro, those are some big, big, big shoes to fill.
Mm-hmm.
So hopefully, let's see. Oh man, Louis L'Amour books were everywhere in my house.
They were huge. I just remember like a pack of cigarettes and a lighter on top of a Louis L'Amour book on the kitchen table or something.
Oh, totally.
Yeah, but all right, do you want to hit us with the Internet Movie Database tagline there, Neil?
A bedridden boy's grandfather reads him the story of a farm boy turned pirate who encounters numerous obstacles, enemies, and allies in his quest to be reunited with his true love.
All right, pretty decent. You know.
Which actually the movie is about To Blave, which we all know is something completely different.
To Blave. Billy Crystal, and I'll talk about him right now since you brought that up, was huge in the 80s. I just remember thinking he was like one of the funniest guys in like his movies and his comedy specials and stuff like that. But now it's hard for me to tolerate Billy Crystal and his shtick. You know.
Yeah, he pulled off a movie with Jack Palance. So honestly,
yeah,
there you go.
Well, I like When Harry Met Sally. That's a classic. And then he was in Running Scared with Gregory Hines. And yeah, that was Hines, pretty. Yeah. That was a pretty good movie.
Billy Crystal almost killed me once.
Really?
Yes.
Do tell.
So I saw him do this bit because he and Robin Williams and Whoopi Goldberg were always doing like, the comedy bits for like charity.
Laughing or something like laugh something. There
was laughing involved. There was laughing involved. And he did this bit that I thought was really funny where he's like, oh, I'm going to tap dance, but with a cough drop. And he takes a cough drop out and he puts the microphone up to his mouth and like whips the cough drop back and forth along his teeth. Mm-hmm. And it sounds like tap dancing. And I'm like, oh, that's pretty hilarious. I'm going to try that. So I pulled out a cough drop and I started doing that. And of course I don't. And then I end up sucking the thing back and choking.
Oh no.
So I'm sitting there like throwing myself as a teenager into a chair at my house. And then I coughed the thing up, ended up cracking a rib because I was throwing myself into it. Cause I'm like, this is not how I want to die.
Die at home with a cough drop in your mouth.
Yeah. I want to be shot in the back by a jealous husband. If Billy Crystal, you son of a bitch with your musical cough drop talents.
I still remember Billy Crystal in This Is Spinal Tap, where him and Dana Carvey are mimes. They're like waiter mimes. And he's like, mime is money. And I always think about that. Speaking of This Is Spinal Tap, directed by Rob Reiner. And Rob Reiner has had a very interesting directing career. He's responsible for a lot of great movies, but now he's basically known as like a liberal blowhard. That's kind of like his career now is like, being against smoking, being against all these like these causes and stuff like that. But he is responsible for some awesome movies. This Is Spinal Tap, 1984. The Sure Thing, which didn't really leave too much of an impression on me. I just know it's a romantic comedy with John Cusack. But Stand By Me, amazing movie. The Princess Bride, When Harry Met Sally, Misery, A Few Good Men, took a little misstep with North, and then The American President, Goes to Mississippi. So he's done a lot of good stuff, especially early. I mean, a guy who directed like Spinal Tap, Stand By Me, Princess Bride, and Misery, that's can't really beat that as far as like a good run of movies. Those are all bona fide classics. And his dad, of course, is Carl Reiner, who's famous comedian as well. And I always remember him, of course, on All in the Family, which my parents used to watch all the time. Did your parents watch All in the Family, Neil?
Grandparents did. My parents did not.
Yeah. Yeah, my parents watched that as well. But yeah, good directing career. Written by William Goldman. Music by Mark Knopfler. And I hate to admit it right now, I'm going through this Dire Straits phase. I'm going to do like a deep dive on Dire Straits lately. And it's kind of sad because the music in this movie is not that great. It's kind of not symphonic. It's like lots of keyboard and stuff. So it's not really memorable to me, but Mark Knopfler, hell of a guitarist.
Oh, hell yeah.
That's all I'm going to say. Like the song that I'm like totally obsessed with right now is Romeo and Juliet by Dire Straits. And there's this guitar solo. We're getting way off topics. At the end of the song, like the last verse of the song, he goes from like acoustic to electric, and the guitar solo is so subtle and so awesome, and you can hear that it's like through tube amps because it's got that little buzzy kind of sound to it. It's just perfect. I have it on vinyl. I play it. Oh, it's amazing.
See, I loved because I learned how to play guitar first, and I had heard the music, but I didn't understand like exactly what he was doing until I actually saw a video of him like playing with all of his fingers, basically.
Yeah.
And plucking notes simultaneously. But Sultans of Swing,
Oh yeah,
That
amazing.
tone, that ba-da-da-boom, that he's getting, so damn smooth.
Yeah, really good fingerstyle guitarist. Really good, just that perfect Fender kind of sound that he has going. And yeah, really good. Making Movies is my favorite Dire Straits album because it's got Skate Away, Romeo and Juliet, Tunnel of Love. So I'm kind of in this Dire Straits mode right now. Dad rock.
I'm sorry in the 70s and 80s that our rock and roll was far superior. Heavy metal, however, has evolved quite a bit, and I am much more enjoying the stuff that's coming out now. But Mark Knopfler, amazing guitarist.
So what name a good heavy metal group right now?
Lorna Shore.
Lorna Shore. Okay.
Lorna Shore.
I'll have to...
Ammon Amaroth.
I do enjoy Ammon Amaroth.
Yeah. Lamb of God.
I think they're okay.
All right.
I haven't listened to too much of them yet.
I saw them live and they were great. And then if you just want like a hard rock-ish, heavy metal-ish, Five Finger Death Punch. But Lorna Shore. Oh yeah. Just get down in there. Now, if you want, there's a lot of really good like Norwegian bands, but that might be a little bit like past what you would probably be interested in. I like my music on the really satanic side.
Gorgoroth.
Oh, Carving the Eye of a Giant. Oh, so good. Yeah. That's the only concert I've ever been like frightened at. Like truly frightened. I'm just looking.
I've seen like those where the guys
I don't belong here.
People on crosses that are all bloody and all that kind of stuff. Yeah, just very.
Yeah. That was looking around. I'm like, I don't belong here. This is not where I'm supposed to be.
So back to the movie. This is one of those movies, and like David said, this is where you watch it over and over again on VHS. It wasn't a huge hit when it came out. It was released on September 25th of 1987. Budget of $16 million. Only $30.9 million at the box office, so it was a reasonable. I mean, it made its money back, but really VHS and cable is where it became a classic because it's not even 2 hours long. It's like an hour and 36 minutes, so you can pack it in on TNT with commercials in 2 hours and just show the shit out of it. And it's clean, so you don't really have to edit it. So it's like a perfect cable family movie. But it's smarter than that because it's got a lot of, lots of good writing and wordplay, and it's a little bit smarter and more fun. I think I enjoy it quite a bit. I enjoyed watching it. I hadn't seen it in a long, long time, but I enjoyed it. Yeah,
good. just head nods, yep. Which is great for a podcast. We'll just nod our heads.
Framing story. You got Fred Savage as the grandson and Peter Falk as his grandpa. And
God dang. Okay, let's talk about Peter Falk. Mm-hmm. How awesome is Columbo?
I remember that as a kid, my grandma and my grandpa would watch it, and he would always play dumb when he was questioning somebody, and then he would like at the end, he's like, one more thing. Or,
one more thing. And he would always pat his pockets.
Yeah.
When he got up for that and he patted his pockets, it was just like, yes. Then I started looking up Columbo on YouTube. So good. At work because I didn't have any way to watch it here.
Main story, Cary Elwes is Wesley, aka the Dread Pirate Roberts. He was a pretty boy. That is like, 24, 25 in this movie, but he was like super pretty boy. And he's had like an odd career. I thought he would be like a bigger star, and he's been in lots of weird stuff. His performance in Saw is pretty overwrought, like very overacting. If you have not seen Saw, he is hamming it up in that movie. Robin Wright is Princess Buttercup. And of course, she was like 21 in this movie, and she went on to be Jenny in Forrest Gump. Yeah, poor Forrest.
No shrimp for you, buddy.
Mandy Patinkin is Inigo Montoya. Very, very memorable turn in that part. Chris Sarandon also was awesome. Prince Humperdinck. Christopher Guest, speaking of Spinal Tap, is Count Rugen. Wallace Shawn is awesome. Vizini, Andre the Giant is Fezzik. So, I mean, the casting up and down is just great. It's really, really good. And everybody has memorable turns in the movie. You want to hit us with a critical consensus?
Yes. Let's hit with a critical consensus. And I just want to say this movie made me a fan of Mandy Patinkin. I love me a character with like single-minded anger and hatred.
Mm-hmm.
And that was the best part. All right. On Rotten Tomatoes, the film holds a 98% approval rating based on 82 reviews and an average rating of 8.5 of 10. The site's consensus states a delightfully postmodern fairy tale. The Princess Bride is a deft, intelligent mix of swashbuckling, romance, and comedy that takes an age-old damsel in distress story and makes it fresh. On Metacritic, the film holds a score of 77 out of 100, based on 20 critics indicating generally favorable reviews. Audience surveyed by CinemaScore gave the film a grade of A+ on a scale of A to F.
That's like one of the first A pluses I've seen at CinemaScore. Usually you see a lot of A's and stuff like that, but A+, that seems that's a rare one.
Well, the people that probably wouldn't have rated this an A+ are just like a bunch of like embittered assholes that like wanted to start a podcast or something like that. Those, can't trust those guys.
Those buffoons.
Bunch of buffoons. Gene Siskel and Roger Ebert gave the film a 2 thumbs up rating on their television program. Ebert also wrote a very favorable print review in his column for the Chicago Sun-Times. Richard Corliss of Time said the film was fun for the whole family, and later, Time listed the film as one of the best of '87. Janet Maslin of the New York Times praised the cast and the sweetness of the film. The American critic Dalton Mullins praised the film as one of the best love stories ever filmed, writing, "The chemistry between the two leads is palpable and is clear from the first moment they're on screen together. When Buttercup asks Wesley to do something, the tension of the unspoken love between the two is profound and dense, especially when they were standing..."
Like his heart on.
Wow, you're taking it to an awful place for such a sweet movie. What the hell? Has it been a long week? Lonely week?
No, it's been a good week.
You're starting to vent a little bit here. All right.
Today was a good day, my dad. All right, sorry.
All right, I'm not going to... Don't want to bring it up. That's her fucking brother.
I know. I can see David's face.
Us, man.
So
Come
sad.
on.
Mm-hmm. Right.
I vomited a little bit right there. All right. The tension of the unspoken love between the two is profound and dense. Especially when they were standing face to face right before they professed their undying love for each other. Mullins argued that the phrase "as you wish" sums up the film's philosophy, as Wesley was willing to suffer any hardship and brave any peril for the woman he loves, which led him to argue the film was a story about true love.
True love.
He wrote that the scenes in the swamp were especially effective because the characters had been apart for so long, and the way Wesley cradles Buttercup and the affectionate hug has always been a moment that stood out to me, because it accentuates the love between the two characters and reinforces the themes of longing and true love. Mullins sounds like this motherfucker's lonely. Just the way he's writing this, holy crap.
I know, wow.
Mullins called he didn't have the kind of week you're having. Mullins called the film the greatest romantic fantasy adventure story. It flawlessly represents love in that it can be a long, arduous process, feel like it goes on forever, and slowly sucks the life out of you. Sorry, maybe I went off on a rant right there. I
just sucked 1 year of your life.
But when fought for, it can be the most beautiful, passionate thing and fills you with the most joyous filmings.
Wow.
Feelings,
Mullins, man.
Mullins, Jesus. Come on. Someone sat in a drum circle and worked some things out. Mullins did. The Princess Bride was not a major box office success, but it became a cult classic after its release in the home video market. The film is widely regarded as eminently quotable, which it is. Elway's noted in 2017 on the film's 30th anniversary that fans will still frequently come up to him and quote lines from the movie. According to him, Wallace Shawn had it worse because anytime Wallace made a small error like dropping his keys, people would shout,
"Inconceivable."
In 2000, readers of Total Film magazine voted The Princess Bride as the 38th greatest comedy film of all time. In 2005, The Princess Bride was voted 40th in Channel 4's 100 Greatest Family Films, ahead of Snow White and the Seven Dwarfs and Beetlejuice, and just behind Bugsy Malone and Bedknobs and Broomsticks.
Bugsy Malone?
Yeah, I'm not
That's
sure.
That's the movie with Scott Baio and Jodie Foster, where they had the guns that like shoot like pies and stuff at them. It's like a 70s movie. You remember that? Bugsy Malone? Alan Parker directed movie.
William Goldman's screenplay was selected by the Writers Guild of America as the 84th best screenplay of all time. It earned the same ranking in the Guild's 2013 update. The film was selected number 88 on the American Film Institute AFI's 100 Years, 100 Passions, listing the 100 greatest film love stories of all time. BBC Radio 5's resident film critic, Mike Kermode, is a fan of the film, frequently considering it a model in which similar films aspire. What do we learn here? Mullins is a lonely, lonely, lonely man.
No, it is a really good movie, and I was watching some of the making of stuff and, retrospectives and things. And, it really, especially Mandy Patinkin, he thinks it considered his best role ever. And people always quote it to him and, it holds a lot of meaning for him. So yeah, it's fun to see that. And VHS, man, I remember seeing a lot of VHS copies of this, that people had this movie. Just, very popular in video. One thing I always notice in movies is kids' rooms. Whenever they have, like, whoever did the set decoration for the kids' room, the kid was spoiled.
God, he had all the cool shit. He had the He-Man stuff back there.
Yep,
he had
He-Man stuff.
Did you notice the naval cap? The caps like the veterans.
Yeah, it's the same cap that Rob Reiner wears in Spinal Tap as Marty DeBurgi.
Yeah, it was in there.
You had a Judge Dredd T-shirt hanging on the back of a chair, and he had a banner that said New Mexico on the wall. Did you guys notice that? There was a banner that said New Mexico. It was interesting.
Holding it down. Oh, and that's the big one, dude. When my freezer went down, I lost green chili.
I was afraid to ask you that if that happened.
I know you mentioned that, and that nearly brought me to damn tears when I was cleaning everything up, because part of me was like, you know what, I'll just cook it up, but it had been in there and I didn't want to risk it. I just didn't have space. Oh God. All right, that's it. I'm done. I'm out of here. Nope. I got to go cry. I'll talk to you later.
Well, I wouldn't blame you for weeping. So
sad.
So I'm watching the movie.
Thanks for thinking that up. Why don't you just give me a nice paper cut and put some lemon juice in it?
Always like the MLT, the mutton, lettuce, and tomato sandwich.
When the tomatoes are nice and perky.
So when I watched this movie twice, and when I watched it the second time, I kind of thought that Buttercup has some sort of like stuck-up horse girl energy going on, Growing up in Farmington and Kirtland, we knew a lot of horse chicks. They're an interesting group of people.
Very much so. But at least you didn't walk around looking like Han Solo in the fall, like they do here.
With the
vests and the knee-high leather boots. Yeah, my wife always jokes it's Han Solo weather.
Mm-hmm.
And now it's Solo cups. They get not the Solo cups. What are those?
The Stanley Cups.
The big Stanley cups.
Yeah.
Yeah. If it's not for hockey, nobody cares.
A lot of ladies are fans of the Stanley Cup at work.
Yeah. I love going up when they have them. I'm like, hey, look, it's Neil. And then I grab their cup and go, now it's basic Neil. Then put it back down. Now it's Neil. Now it's basic Neil. I make so many friends that way because everyone loves my humor.
You could kill a man with a Stanley Cup, though. They're so heavy and sturdy. You could cave somebody's head in with a Stanley Cup.
That sounds like a line from a Schwarzenegger movie. Remember, Sully, when I promised to kill you with the Stanley Cup last? I lied.
40 ounces of your brain matter in the cup.
Eric, you son of a bitch. Take the cup. Wham.
I do like when they would cut back and forth to Fred Savage and Peter Falk is like, this is a kissing book, and just some of that stuff. I think that kind of, as a young boy watching this movie, except for I think I wasn't that young. I was like 13 when this movie came out, 13 or 14. But yeah, it was still fun. I did like the fencing choreography. Apparently, they trained for 2 months, and anytime they had downtime, that they would practice. And when the guy who was the fight choreographer for lots of movies, including Star Wars movies, did the fencing choreography.
No, that was so much fun to watch. You can tell that they put in work too. Mm-hmm. And again, what we've said about people doing physical stuff in movies, you can tell when someone has put in the time and the effort, and the director gives a crap when they're doing that. You can tell that someone has worked on it.
Yeah.
And how cool. I mean, for me, I think it would be great as an actor. Like, that is your singular focus day and night. What do you get to do today? I get to learn how to fight with swords today. Pay me for it. Pay me. I am right here. I would love to do that. That would be so kick-ass.
And the way the action was shot, it was done at far enough away that you can see the full action, but close enough to see that it was the actors that were doing it. So I always like when they do that. It kind of shows the dedication of the people involved and to really do it. So
talking about how quotable the movie is, I've just got a million lines going through my head, and I'm hearing them all as Arnold Schwarzenegger too, which is awesome.
I did love Vizini. Wallace Shawn is always memorable, and I like when he's doing the Battle of Wits.
Have you heard of Plato, Aristotle, Socrates? Morons.
Never. What is this? When a Sicilian when death is on the line.
Never get involved with a Sicilian when death is on the line. Yeah. So now say that inside your head, but say it as Arnold. And you see how my mind is just having a great time. Can I do, I got one, I got to do it. There's a shortage of perfect breasts in this world. It'd be a pity to damage yours. You've done so many raises, and with the incline bench and the squeezing, is they're perfect. Look what they add. They're okay in this light, but in this light, they're spectacular.
They're spectacular. Andre the Giant is super memorable in this movie. I think he loved being in the movie, and they're talking about it because there's a really good documentary called Andre, and it's all about his history, and it was just basically a 2-hour biography of him, and he really remembers this movie fondly because he felt that nobody treated him like a wrestler or like a freak or anything like that. They all treated him warmly like an actor, and he felt like it was a really good time, and he does a really good job and is memorable. Anybody want a peanut? No.
You have Five Guys where you're at?
Yes.
Okay. Yeah. Every time I go, anytime I go get a cup full of those things. Anybody with a peanut? And occasionally there's other guys my age that look at me and go, "Hey, good one. I get it."
This is another one of those 80s fantasy movies that skirts the line of looking cheap, but also looking memorable, like the boat scenes and stuff like that. You can tell they're on sets, and the part where you're showing Andre climbing up with the three of them attached to him. It looks cheesy, but it still looks cool at the same time. You're like, but it's that's what makes it memorable. Is it looks a little off, but it's still fun.
He's catching up with us. He's all by himself. I'm carrying 3 people.
Christopher Guest does a really good job as Count Rugen, the 6-fingered man. You can only see him as Nigel, though. You're not as confused as Nigel is.
But that one goes to 11. Speaking of quotable films.
Oh my God. Yeah. That's amazing. I love
so
that
my
movie.
wife was bothered by, when they get to the cliffs of insanity, my wife was bothered by, she goes, "Why is the rope there? There's just a giant rope hanging off. Is that how you get up the cliffs of insanity?" And so I brought up that, well, maybe because he's a planner, maybe he hung the rope before going and getting Buttercup so that they could blame Gilder.
Yeah, that's kind of my take on it, that he had planned it. Yeah.
It really worked up the misses, man.
I like the eels. The eels look kind of cool. Cheesy yet cool at the same time. Fencing was pretty awesome. After he wins the battle of wits with Vizini, he was about to smack Buttercup, man. He had his pimp hand up. I was like, wow, this is going to get dark. But he didn't.
Not Wesley. That's not what she wished.
The rodents of unusual sizes, that was pretty awesome too. He was pretty.
You mean the ROUSs? I don't believe they exist.
Yes, just came out of nowhere. Just
Dude,
that's
those things. When you first see it, you're a kid. We were teenagers, and you look at it like, "Oh, that's so cheesy. That's so horrible." But then watching it as an adult, those are kind of damn freaky.
Yeah. Mm-hmm.
Those are really freaky. You got some guy down in that suit with that big old rubber face whipping around in the front, getting ready to jump on you. You don't have to worry about acting.
And I'm just going back to old man moment. That's what I love about those 80s fantasy movies, because it was practical effects, a guy in a suit, some poor little guy in a giant rodent suit rolling around, but also even like legend and stuff like that, where it's just somebody built that set. There's no green screen, no blue screen, anything like that. It's just, it may look a little cheesy, but it's still there. You can still, the fire swamp and the lightning sand, which was pretty cool. I mean, everything works, even though if it may not meet past the muster of what would be made today.
Yeah.
It's still memorable.
I just feel bad because I feel like we're sitting here talking about a movie that we both kind of enjoyed and have fond memories for, and we're watching David slowly expire in front of us.
I know, David. Yang, you all right?
Yeah, I'm hanging in. I'm enjoying listening.
Okay, well, we could have recorded this. You could have tuned in later. It would all be a big surprise, man.
I like that he's physically here watching us, and like you said, we're slowly watching him get greener around the gills and holding himself up.
The guy looks like he just needs rest.
Can David last 15 more minutes?
I've got a lot to add, but it just
no. Jump in, man. What are we missing that we haven't said?
I won't stop coughing and my nose won't stop running. So it's like there's a lot of sniffing going on. But I would say that my favorite scene in the movie that always brought back memories, and it made me think of when he fights Andre the Giant,
mm-hmm.
and just that's kind of how slow that fight was. But I just remember Hulk Hogan in WrestleMania when he picked up Andre the Giant over his head. Do you guys remember that?
Yeah. And he looked like he was about to toss a vertebra too.
Yeah, and he picked up Andre the Giant over his head and threw him behind him. Do you guys remember that? Like that was
no. He never. I'm gonna like spoil it. Hulk Hogan could not lift Andre up that high. He only did one body slam in WrestleMania 3, where he was able to pick him up with Andre's assistance and slam him to the ground. He never picked him up over his head because Andre was like 500 pounds.
Oh, see, I thought my memory was.
I remember. He had a hold of him because in my head, the way I'm remembering it, like Dave, he had him up and
this is like the Mandela effect, because when you watch the Andre the Giant biography, Hulk Hogan was so scared that Andre wasn't going to let him win, that he wasn't going to let him. Because Andre could pick and choose whoever would win, and pick and choose whoever he would want to defeat him, so that they didn't really had a solid agreement that he was going to win. The Hulk Hogan wasn't going to win, and during the middle of the match, they kind of agreed, like, okay, you can body slam me, and of course Hulk Hogan hulks up and stuff like that, and it was with a lot of assistive momentum that Andre kind of springs up a little bit, and so he can pick him up enough just to slam him down. And
I thought it was like he slowly picked him up. He tried a couple times, and the crowd was going crazy. And then when he did it, he like collapsed, and everyone was like, "Oh!"
Well, that was part of the storyline in the match, is that he would try to slam him, and then it hurt his back. And then Andre was working on his back, and and just kept hitting him on the back and all this kind of stuff. And and then Hulk, of course, they always do the same thing where they pick up his arm and it goes down. They pick it up again, and it goes down, and he pick up it the third time, and then he holds it up, and he shakes it, and he hulks up, and then he manages to do the 3 moves of doom. He does a body slam, he does the leg drop, and then he does the pin. But in WrestleMania 3, there was a lot of debate whether he was going to job, as they call it, because if you do the job, that means you're gonna lose. And it's a lot of Andre the Giant was known for being unbeatable, so for him to job for Hogan was a huge deal. And this is the wrestling nerd coming out of me right now, but
neither of us noticed. So
yeah, I'm just gonna let this roll. But yeah, that's what it made me think of.
David, he didn't actually pick him up over his head.
Yeah.
Using the assistance of his own momentum, he only levered him over to slam him backwards.
Yeah, this whole time
because he was jobbing.
Trying to figure out how I was going to say something and have my piece on this, and Eric's like, "Well, actually."
I'm sorry, didn't mean to. Well, actually, for you.
Yeah, I got the old. Well, actually, I'm sick and I'm dying. Actually. So
sorry,
but yeah, I remember this movie. It brought back a lot of memories of watching it over and over when we were younger, but that was always the one scene that obviously the sword fight scene, but yeah, when he was slamming him in the rocks and when they were fighting, it was like, this is the best.
Yeah, that he was good enough to take out the skilled swordsman and then the giant, and then had the smarts to outwit the guy. That was a lot of
All
fun.
right, so I want to do a little size comparison. So Carrie Elways is 6 feet tall. 6 feet tall. A 6 foot tall dude looking like a child just gives you an idea of how big Andre the Giant is. And I know they're faking and he's not going to hit him, but just the mass of those ham-sized fists.
Oh yeah,
that's all I could think of when he's throwing those. Like, he was obviously not going to hit him, but like, dude, if he ever did accidentally connect, the kinetic force in that gigantic freaking hand would just rock you.
Mm-hmm.
Well, I did see that when is it Christopher Guest? No, the prince or whatever. When he hit Gary Ools on the head,
mm-hmm.
he actually knocked him out, and that was the shot that they used because he said they were having a hard time figuring out how to make it look realistic. So he said, "Just go for it." And that was the shot they used, was when he actually knocked him out.
Yeah, I saw that too. That's pretty funny that he actually
top of the sword.
let him get smacked in the head.
Yeah.
They said that Cary Elwes broke his toe as well, and he filmed most of the movie with a broken toe, and those running scenes and stuff like that were pretty torturous.
I feel like what I do is on a day-to-day basis is quite painful, and I don't get paid as much as a movie actor. I would be more than willing to hobble around on a busted toe.
Yeah, I think this is
Carrie, shut your face.
I always do remember the machine, the torture machine part, how just turning up just to one, how painful it was, in the way that Cary Elwes sold it when he asked him, how does it feel? And he just kind of cries in pain, meekly cries. He's all interesting.
Do you hear that? That is the sound of a man.
And turned it up all the way. This goes to 11. Billy Crystal being Billy Crystal makes me want to get an MLT.
Nice and perky. I did like. Well, we were talking about the fight scene. My other really favorite line is when he basically tells him to dream of large women.
Yes, dream of large women.
And dream of large women. Because when he's got a hold of Robin Wright pen, and it's like, it makes you wonder how Andre the Giantish is every
yeah.
That he would probably kill the average female. And damn.
Yeah, when Wesley was limp, and Andre was moving his head back and forth with his hand. Yeah, his head looked just a little like a doll or something, and when he was moving him back and forth.
Yeah, it's odorless, it's colorless, it's tasteless, and dissolves instantly in water. And Humperdinck, iocane powder.
You're such a good hunter. Yeah, there's so many memorable moments in the movie, and it ends. I love the way Count Rugen, when the four guards get killed, and he looks like he's about to fight, just how he just turns up and runs away, but he makes a little motion like he's gonna use the sword out of the way. The way it's just shot is just perfect. It's just he's really done well. And of course of his my name is Inigo Montoya. It's awesome. Yep. Remember that movie that we watched? It was really good.
Oh yeah, my wedge.
Yeah, it was a really good movie. I enjoyed it. It's one of those, I hadn't seen it in a long, long time, and I watched it twice, and it didn't feel long at all. I enjoyed it in both times. So sometimes when I watch it the second time, I'm like, making notes and stuff, but I enjoyed it both times. So, but let's talk about 1987. 1987. I think is one of the best years ever for movies, because we have done a shitload of episodes on movies in 1987. A lot of them. So Lethal Weapon, Predator, RoboCop, Nightmare on Elm Street Part 3.
Holy crap, the secret of my success.
Yeah, Lost Boys, Can't Buy Me Love, Princess Bride, Eddie Murphy Raw, Little Shop of Horrors, Raising Arizona, Jaws the Revenge.
God, Raising Arizona.
We need to do that sometime. That's amazing.
I love
amazing
that movie. Full Metal Jacket.
The Believers, which is a nice voodoo movie with Martin Sheen. Born in East LA, Masters of the Universe, Angel Heart, Three Amigos.
Angel Heart was the movie that made me want to put the bone in Bonet.
Yes. That's an interesting movie. You need to watch that one. Robert De Niro does a good job as Louis Cypher. Louis Cypher, get it? Anyway.
I get it.
Hellraiser, Prince of Darkness, Lesson Zero, Teen Wolf 2,
Ishtar,
House 2, The Second Story, Evil Dead 2, Hollywood Shuffle, River's Edge. Yeah, American Ninja 2, The Confrontation.
Oh, so good.
We've done an episode on that. 3 O'Clock High, which I think we need to do. That's a really good one. Buddy Revell. You remember that one? That's a good one. Prince's Sign of the Times.
Leonard Part 6.
Yes. The All-Nighter with Susanna Hoffs. Terrible movie, but Susanna Hoffs. Hello, Mary Lou, Prom Night 2.
Oh, guys, the Care Bears Adventure in Wonderland came out that year.
What? Prick up your ears. What?
You don't remember that?
I remember the name, but just there's a Family Guide episode called Prick Up Your Ears, and it's because kids are doing abstinence and having sex a different way through the ear. Yeah. Return to Horror High. Just scroll over that and see if you remember that video box.
What number is that?
Number 174.
174. Return to Horror High. Oh, yeah. Okay. I've seen that box a million times.
I've seen that box a million times. I don't think I've ever seen it, but I've seen that box over and over and over again. Amazon Women on the Moon. Yeah, it's just 87 is that sweet spot of a lot of movies coming to video, going to, to the video store and just watching a ton of movies from that year. The Stepfather, Sid and Nancy, Barfly, Near Dark,
So
Monster Squad. Dang, there's a lot of movies we've done episodes on in 1987. That's a great year for movies. Death Before Dishonor. The Sicilian. Yeah, good stuff. Next week, we're back with another fantasy movie, The Lord of the Rings, The Fellowship of the Ring, which has been on HBO a ton. So I'm kind of excited about doing that one. We're doing a big blockbuster movie.
Yeah. No. I mean, that came out weird. I love Tolkien. Mm-hmm. Although you don't need 12 pages to describe trees.
Yeah.
But his love of language and trying to preserve, the use of song to preserve stories and things like that. And, obviously the guy loved language. He was a hell of a writer. And I love it. But the geek can run deep in Tolkien. Oh, yeah. Super deep. And I say I'm a Tolkien fan, I'm not like, I don't know whose great grandfather was who. Just I've read the books and I know the story.
Yeah, I read the books as well. I read The Hobbit and the Lord of the Rings trilogy. I never read the Silmarillion and those other kind of add-on books. But I really enjoy the movies. They have some issues, which I'm sure we'll talk about, and some of the things that haven't aged well, but some of the other things that have turned out still really, really good. And I asked Andrew before we started the movie, before we started recording, which is the nerdier fan base? Lord of the Rings nerds, Harry Potter nerds, or Star Wars nerds?
Harry Potter.
Neil, David, what do you think?
Yeah, Harry Potter.
Fucking
Fucking nerds.
Nerds. Goddamn Potterheads.
Pardon me. I don't know which one we saw, but my wife and I were like, okay, cool. Let's go watch a Harry Potter movie. Cause her mom really enjoyed Harry Potter. Mm-hmm. And we were able to get one of the movies from an illegal release from China. Cause her mother was very sick and was passing away. And we got her the copy of one of the movies, but because of that, we would go in honor of her mom and go watch all the films. Mm-hmm. So they had an old style bowl movie theater, like it kind of goes down with a dome over it. And it's like, hey, it's opening night. I got tickets. Why don't we go watch this movie? I have I rarely felt that angry and just wanting to slap the shit out of so many people. Everybody was coming up because I had my glasses on so I could see, and I had people coming up and going like Reparo and like touching my like don't touch me. And everyone's got their freaking like scarves on. There were people running around with like broomsticks up their ass and playing Quidditch and stuff in the theater. Yeah. So from then on out, every other one of those damn movies is like, we could wait for video.
I've seen them all and I appreciate them, but the first couple are awful because the kids are so young and their acting is so awful. I mean, they cannot act their way out of a paper bag. Once they got to like Half-Blood Prince, which I think is closer to the end, it actually were more enjoyable.
Well, they had thought about casting Harry Potter as a 40-year-old.
Mm-hmm.
But you know, those guys were like,
yeah, I mean, I know they got to be
a
young.
little kid.
I know they got to be young. I know, but they had to be young, obviously. But I just didn't enjoy them until they started getting a little bit more.
You
mature.
grouchy old bastard.
I am a grouchy old man. But yes, Lord of the Rings, Fellowship of the Ring, and then we're gonna do a cheesy sword and sandals movie called The Sword and the Sorcerer to end Fantasy February. It is super cheesy but fun.
I'm looking forward to trying to find out where the hell that's streaming.
I think it's actually on Tubi.
Nice.
Surprise. Let's check just to be. Oh, and our fan Ryan sent me a email. In the email, there's an app you can use and it'll tell you where a movie is streaming.
Oh, well, thanks for sharing that email with everybody.
Yeah, I'm gonna share it right now. Hold on while we're talking. I'm looking it up. Hold on.
Yeah, you can't just keep it to yourself, dude.
That was a little public shaming there. Did you get that?
And while he's looking it up, I just want to say you had to wait for like, was it Harry Potter number 7 or 8 to finally see Hermione in jeans? It was like, you had to watch a lot of hours just for that moment.
Well, yeah, I'm kind of getting a little nervous that your webcam's on right now, honestly.
So it says there is an app where you can type in any movie and it'll tell you where it's streaming. It's called Just Watch, and it's Just Watch in yellow, and there's like some little triangles on it. So I hadn't downloaded it yet, but that would definitely come in handy for us. So thank you, Ryan, for suggesting that.
Yeah, when are we going to do Ryan's movie?
Le Pacte de Loops. I'm going to have to watch it on Tubi this week and kind of vet it. You know, I'm not saying I'm not to, you know.
So what you're saying is we got one of the 4 listeners, and you are unwilling to just watch the movie.
Yeah.
It's gotta. I shy from saying it's got to meet your standards when honestly I don't think there are.
Yeah, what the fuck? This guy sent us an email. We can't say, well, we got to vet it first. We got to do it.
I think we're learning something here. Ryan is finding out Eric's kind of a controlling dick.
I am kind of a controlling dick. Yes, I am a little bit of a control freak. Yes. But thank you, Ryan. Appreciate it. If you also want to send us an email, rvspodcast222@gmail.com. We're on Instagram, on Facebook, soon to be Threads once Neil's account allows him to.
I'm actually waiting. I got to wait like a certain amount of time before it actually officially deletes my Instagram so I can start a new one.
Yeah.
And then have that go onto it. So I'm in the process of just waiting for that. And I know I've been saying shit like that for weeks and weeks and weeks, but I actually got off my ass and did something.
Cool. All right. David, I hope you feel better. Oh, nice.
Thanks,
Neil downloaded it. So, Neil, sorry. We have to edit it out. David, I hope you feel better.
Thanks. Me too.
All right. Well, everybody have a good week. See you next week. Appreciate you listening.
Yeah, everybody have a good week.
Goodbye.
Goodbye. Oh, get some tussin.
Thank you for listening to the Retro Video Store Podcast.